Welcome to the Becoming a Streamer podcast by Pipeline. We sit down and interview your favorite streamers and learn more about their journey and how they got to where they're at today. I'm your host and co-founder of Pipeline, Stone Mountain 64, and today we are joined by Tomographic. Growing up watching content, studying art and design, he ended up uploading content starting a few years back, and now for over a half year, he's been full-time gaming, streaming, and uploading content. He's at over 15,000 followers on Twitch, quickly closing in on 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Go check him out at Tomographic. Give him a subscription. And if you're wanting to learn more about streaming, I hope you really enjoy this podcast. And if you got anybody else that might be interested too, let them know. This is going to be a great share. Without further ado, enjoy the episode. Tom, dude, thanks for hopping on. We got your camera on today too, so that's even more exciting. But
pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
I'm stoked to have you on. Obviously, we've been playing together for a few years now. We were just talking about it the other day, since like PUBG's when we kind of first connected. But
yeah,
I want to dive in a little bit before we get too deep in everything and kind of, you know, get a bit more insight into you before you got into even really creating content. Like, what were you doing? Was it something you were in school? But like, where were you at before you got into content?
Yeah. So before I ever like dabbled in YouTube stuff, like YouTube's where I started before streaming became a thing for me. I did a diploma in art and design because that was what I was most passionate about coming out of school. And that gave me like the opportunity to test out like so many different like art mediums. And graphic design was like the one thing that I hooked onto. So I found myself mainly having clients within YouTube and Twitch space. So I was like designing YouTube banners, profiles, avatars, all that sort of stuff. And that gave me like I guess a foot in the door at first with like YouTube creators and how they operate. And I'd always had like, I watched so many YouTubers growing up, like gaming was always such a passion, but I never realized there was like a whole world of, you know, just gaming creators online. And it was an insane thing to delve into. Like your videos were a big, one of the first I saw in the gamer space with like Neebs, Level Cap, Jack Frags, the OG guys, and Battlefield was like the main game I was playing at the time. But yeah, doing that graphic design stuff really like set me up. I was doing it all from an iPad as well. So when I first started, it was all based on an iPad. And obviously that's like, I needed the equipment really. So building my first PC was something I set out to do. And I worked jobs in like tech stores, and I was a waiter for a long time, about 3 years. And when I built my first PC, the idea was to really start the graphic design business off. And I did. Like the first couple of months were like, I was doing really well. And then I was like, hang on, I've got all the means to start creating content now. I've got a solid PC that can play games like at max settings. I can record and it doesn't affect the FPS all that much. So I just started messing around. Like Dirty Bomb was the first PC game I played. I don't know if you heard that or played it at all. But I really latched onto that game. It was sort of like a really nice blend between like really intense sort of CSGO style gameplay blended with, I don't know, something like Overwatch where it's a bit more arcadey.
Sure.
And it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I played a bunch of that. So I started recording videos just, you know, I just want to see where it would go really. Got some decent gameplay and then started editing that footage. And I was like, I'm actually really enjoying the process of editing now. And then that's sort of the direction that my content started taking. Because I was working a full-time job. So I was making videos that made sense with the editing process.
Before you got into that and started doing everything, I mean, when you're doing the art and design, you did that in school, right? You went to school for that
whilst I was.
And were you creating stuff at the same time while you were doing, like, obviously you're creating a lot of art, you're doing a lot of stuff in that front, but was that something that you had kind of got it, like started, were you watching content creators at the time? Because you said you grew up kind of watching different things as well.
Yeah, well, I hadn't started the YouTube stuff whilst I was in school, but
sure.
I had started up that business, that graphic design business, but that was around the time where, like, in terms of when I wanted to switch off, I was watching, like, those were the videos I was watching. I wasn't big into like watching TV or like films are a big thing for me. I love cinematography, and you can see that in some of my videos. Like my first ever video on the channel was actually a short film on Grand Theft Auto 5, and it got like a lot of attention actually from some big like creators in the GTA space, and I had a bunch of connections. My real like this has just popped into my head. My real like first I guess the closest thing to YouTube and creating videos for me. When the Xbox One first came out, they had a program called Upload. It was like you were able to record with their in-game DVR, and they had like an editing studio. And I edited videos there, and they had this like platform that would feature creators essentially, and people could follow your profile on the Xbox One, so they could see any future content you posted. So I was making like guides, and I think Titanfall was a video I did that got featured.
Wow.
Had like 200,000 views on the main page of Xbox.
Whoa.
And I actually got invited to the Halo Master Chief Collection launch event in London and got to play the game early. And I was playing with like Ali A and Vicstar123, and I was on a team with all these guys, like people I'd been watching for years. And that was real. I guess that was the first time there was a Tomographic face reveal as well, because I was going by the name Tomographic on Xbox. But I got to interview Phil Spencer, and I was doing all these like crazy things, like fully out of my depth.
Oh, dude, that's insane.
They like really took me along. And I don't know if you're familiar with RX Gaming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he actually set up the Upload program. So obviously he's big on YouTube now, like does a bunch of stuff. But he set that up, and we've stayed in touch all these years. Like he hooked me up with like a bunch of really helpful tools when I started YouTube myself, because he saw that I had an eye for it, and he saw there was some initial growth of my videos and stuff. And he's been a supporter for ages. But yeah, I guess that went off for about a year, and then the Upload program shut down. But I learned a lot about video editing through that. And then when I transitioned to editing on my computer for the first time, like I had the basic editing understanding, and then I only had to learn the advanced stuff with Premiere. Yeah, it was a huge learning thing for me.
And were you playing games your whole life too? Was that like what kind of got you more into that space on it? Or was it really kind of you were looking for more of a creative outlet and you found gaming and a way to, create content through that?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, like gaming's always been a part of my life, but FPS games were like a late, I don't know, I guess I was like maybe 13, 14 when I first started playing FPS games. But before that, I was like Halo was the first FPS for me. I played that a bunch as a kid, but never owned a console to play it on. It was a Xbox exclusive, so I was like PlayStation for years. And when I did get Halo Reach was the first game I got on the Xbox 360. I was big into Forge on that. So I was already creating like tracks and stuff for like the Mongoose that you could drive around. And I had like a big track that got downloaded so many times. It was ridiculous, and got featured on a bunch of like Halo Reach YouTube channels, people showing off the track and like including the download link and all that sort of stuff.
That the Forge is like you creating custom maps inside of the game, right? So then you created a racetrack for the ATVs in that, the Mongoose and everything.
So like that's the thing, like the creative aspect of my brain is like it just latches onto stuff like that. And I love it. And I try and do that with like the replay feature in PUBG when that first came out. I was big into that. Like every PUBG video I posted had some sort of replay feature in it where I was like showing the perspectives of my teammates, and showing like the really cool moments that happened in that game from like a different angle or like a cinematic angle. And I really edited it together in a way that was like, it really satisfied that, I guess, the cinematic thing I love, like cinematography. And I'm big into like one take shots in cinema and film. And being able to replicate that is really cool in games. I think when they have those features available, I think PUBG was the first time where they actually had anything like that. Fortnite followed that as well, didn't it? But yeah, I dabbled in that slightly. But I mean, Fortnite never really took off for me. It was PUBG that was the first bit of success I had with YouTube.
So when you started uploading, you said you kind of started with Dirty Bomb. What was that like process for you? Because I think even just to get into creative endeavors in the first place, or to start putting stuff out, a lot of people even just struggle with that. Was that something like obviously you said you got the tools now, and it was something like, oh, I can try this. Like, where did you even start with putting content out?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to remember that. Like, I've been making content for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess because I'd been watching these content creators for so many years, there was always this part of me that was like, I can do this. Like, I just didn't have the equipment to do so. And then, obviously, making a short film was my first video. I don't need a camera. I don't need a microphone. I just need the tools that the game offers. And they had that, I forget what the name was, Rockstar Editor, I think it was. That was the name of the editing thing where you recorded things that happened in the game and then you could stitch it together inside the game. So I edited it in that, and then just dragged that into Premiere, and then cut out, like, cleaned it up a bit, and that was it. Like, there was no, It wasn't really me attached to it, but I made it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then, for you, I know you kind of started streaming later on, but then what was it like for you to start streaming, or what kind of made you want to get more into that side of things as well?
Yeah, so when I first started my YouTube channel, I created a Twitch account at the same time, and didn't stream on it for about a year. And then when I had that initial PUBG growth is when I was like, oh, I'm going to stream today. I just felt like doing it. And that's when I realized how bad the internet is in my area. You need a really good internet connection to stream. And I mean, it's still no better, but I mean, I've got the best out of it I can. But I only really started streaming about 7-8 months ago properly, where I really gave it a shot. I think my Twitch channel accumulated like 6,000 followers just from people who, I guess, were interested in the YouTube content and wanted to follow me on Twitch when I did eventually start streaming. But I mean, it was you and Aculite really that gave me the push to try and give it a shot full time. I mean, the thought was always there in my mind that I could do it. But obviously working a full-time job, you get into that mentality of like, oh, this is my routine now. Like, get home from work, play with the guys, record, and then edit when I can. And I'd upload like once a week. But it'd always be like a really high quality edit. It was always quality over quantity for me. So I wouldn't upload a video if it was, it was just there was no effort involved. I was doing a lot of those like cinematic replay things, like I said. But yeah, when I went full time, the biggest thing for me was because I just started streaming around that time as well, and there was so much initial support. I mean, I'd had like emails from people, really like heartfelt emails saying that they were willing to support, like with gifted subs, and really got behind me. I had like a really personalized email from someone who was like, "I'm going to give you 300 gifted subs a month to keep this going for the first few months," and he didn't need to do that. Like the first month he gifted 300, and then I was up to 1,000 within a week of coming back to streaming. And yeah, it all just snowballed from there really. I'm at a point now though, where I haven't streamed in about a month or two because of internet issues again. But I mean, by the time this podcast goes live, I'm sure things will be back to normal. But yeah, streaming, it's different, man. It's, that feedback is just, it's so rewarding. I've grown like a really like unique community of people who just, they really support you in a different way to the people who obviously watch your YouTube content. The people who watch YouTube stuff, you'll see the same people in the comment section every so often. But I find that the people who have really got to know you on stream are really just like, really want to support you on every platform and just see you like grow as much as possible. And I've been getting so many really nice messages recently with like the recent growth. Because obviously I haven't been streaming, but the YouTube content has been taken off quite like a fair bit for me. I guess it's the first point in my YouTube career where I've been able to like latch onto a game. I never really had that. Like I wasn't fully invested in PUBG really. Apex had the same sort of feeling towards. But when Warzone came along, like it's a game that I love playing. I love editing, and people on stream love watching it because there's just there's never a dull moment in that game. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun to see, and even going back to when we were playing together so much, and you're like, oh, I got to get off, I got work tomorrow or whatever. So
yeah,
we kept on hounding you, like, come on, man, quit your job, let's play some more games, because you make such unique content with that, and everybody was, everybody always enjoys it. Everybody in my chat, everybody, obviously your audience and everything too. So it's like. It was always so much fun, and we were just kind of prodding you a little bit for that. But what was your schedule?
What I needed though, like, and that was all in like the name of fun, really.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wasn't streaming at the time, was I? And a bunch of your community and Connor was streaming at the time. They just started like gifting me subs, and I think that was when I got to 300 subscribers for the first time, and I wasn't even live, and I was thanking people through your Aculites through your chat.
Yeah, that was a unique day for sure.
Yeah, crazy day.
But I mean, like, what was your schedule like as you're doing this part-time? Because you were still, even though you weren't streaming a lot of it for your internet, for a variety of everything going on for it, like, you're still playing games, you're still capturing content. Like, what was your schedule like as you're doing this? Because like, how much time were you putting into it, I guess?
Pretty much so I was working a full-time job, 5-6 days a week, and I was a waiter at the time, so it's not like you'll get your rota on like a weekly basis. So it would change independently each week, how many hours I'd be working, whether it would be day, morning or night. And obviously, if I'd try and get my manager to associate my work time in the mornings, and then obviously because you guys play later at night, and it's most of the people I play with are NA based, it made sense for me to have that nighttime free. So obviously I was editing whenever I could, but I mean, in order to, I would never like force myself to turn around a video in a short amount of time, because there was no obligation for me to do that. Like, I wasn't doing it full time. I wasn't doing it for the money. It was just a hobby. So I was making sure that every video that went up was high quality, and they'd always get really good feedback, but that never really gave me the opportunity to grow, I guess, because there was no consistency. I mean, consistency is so important with YouTube, and I've learned that now. It was really tough for me to like gain subscribers and stuff when I was just working full time.
Yeah.
And I've realized the importance of asking for subscribers as well. Like, I was always afraid to do that. I don't know why. It was just like, I guess it took away from the professionalism of my content. I held it to that like sort of degree. But with the Warzone stuff, like, I'm able to sort of bring the quality, but also bring the quantity with it as well. And going full time has obviously enabled me to do that. But I think I've been really happy with the more recent videos, and the people seem to be really enjoying it as well. So I've gained some like 20,000 subscribers in a month, which is huge for my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm set to hit 100K within this month. So
heck yeah, man. And with your schedule with that before you went full time, like, what was your cadence of creating content? Because you were often in Aculite's videos, or playing with people too. So I felt like I would still see you around a lot, I guess. But like, what was your content like? Were you doing it once a month sometimes, or was it trying every other week? Or
so there was, like I said, there was no like pressure for me whilst I was making those videos.
Yeah.
I actually found that the better videos, the better performing videos, were the ones where I spent more time on them. Because they had like more, I guess, more potential to gain traction when they were more unique.
Yeah.
Frankie on PC was a big inspiration for me. He was like one of the creators I found that was like making that sort of unique cinema aspect sort of to like the gaming content.
Yeah.
So that was like a big inspiration, and that was something that was when I was like, okay, yeah, I can take my time with videos, and he was a good example of that. Like, at the time he was maybe posting like a video a month or a video every couple of months, and they were still doing really well. I just didn't have that audience, obviously, but
Sure.
I wasn't really doing it for that at the time. It was a really like enjoyable process for me to test out that sort of stuff. And obviously I was doing film and stuff in that media course. So being able to like associate the film aspect with gaming was really cool. But I mean, yeah, playing with Aculite, I met him early on, like in the Dirty Bomb days.
Yeah.
So I'd maybe posted like 10 videos. He'd been making YouTube content for a few months, I think a year maybe. Hit about 3,000 subscribers, I think. But yeah, we just became really good friends. So like I mentioned that in my 2020 video. Met him in Dirty Bomb I just saw one of his videos, and it was like a sniper montage type video. And I mean, that's where he shines. Oh, yeah. It's just crazy. The reactions of that man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first time where I'd seen any gameplay from him, but he also seemed like a cool dude, and YouTube had like a message system at the time. So I sent him a message, and he checked out my content and sort of realized that we we're both making the same sort of videos. And he thought the same of me. He thought I seemed like a chill dude. So we played a few times together. And then, yeah, 4 years later, we're still playing, and he's one of like my best friends. But yeah, it's like, obviously when he blew up, it helped out my channel because I was that stupid British guy in his videos. And even though I wasn't able to post many videos, the ones that I was posting, I was getting some traction with, and people were starting to enjoy it. And like, obviously that was tough for me to gain any traction with my upload schedule. So
sure.
Networking, and I mean, it's not like I reached out to a big content creator at the time. He was just my friend who happened to blow up on YouTube with PUBG. Before that, I think it was Rainbow Six Siege that we were both playing. But yeah, it's been really cool to like see how he's grown. And now I'm sort of having my own little, my own success with the Warzone content. I mean, I haven't really been able to play much with you guys recently because of the internet issues. Like playing on NA servers is tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems to have worked out now. We're back on track again. So,
and
really cool.
How has it been like, so switching to full time for it? I guess, first of all, like, was it something that your family supported? Like, did they understand what you're doing? And like, how was that transition even just for you in general?
Really strange. Like, my dad couldn't be any worse with technology. He does not understand it at all. Like, I had to try and introduce him to Bluetooth the other day.
Oh man,
like, he never heard of Bluetooth before. It's that bad. That's like one of the older wireless connections. But I live with my dad and my stepmom at the moment. Since whilst I was transitioning from full time, I've been looking for a place, but obviously the whole COVID situation at the moment has made that really difficult. But yeah, it's so like my stepmom has a basic understanding of it. She understands like have an audience, and she gets YouTube. She gets that aspect of it. The only thing she doesn't really understand is the live stream. But yeah, my dad's very old in his ways, and I mean, my siblings, they're all really supportive. Like my brother watches my videos, and I've seen some of my brother's friends in my Twitch chat before, just like, say hi to George for me and all that stupid stuff. So I'm like, what the hell? Like, I guess the words got around through family. But yeah, no, they never really understood it, but it's always been more of a solo endeavor anyway.
Sure.
It's tough to explain that obviously we're talking now, and it's the same experience to me as it would be if I was like talking to anyone else, like in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
To my dad, he's like, oh, he's just sat in that room all day. But it's not that. That's not the experience I'm getting. Like, I go out for runs and stuff. I try and stay active to try and balance out the amount of time that I am sat down and working in front of a computer. But yeah, it's been difficult to try and explain that process.
And do you have a schedule like that helps you? Because I know you mentioned you play with a lot of NA guys in North America, so like I know at least a lot of the British guys that I follow or that I see, they're up at like whenever I'm up too. So I mean, like, do you have any schedule, or do you try and maintain anything of that? Is that something you're still working on? Like, how's that been for you?
Yeah, it's definitely a work in progress. recently, I mean, I've been like, it's been 5, 6 a.m. bedtimes with the whole internet issues I've been having. Like I've been really like, I've got to give myself a pat on the back for being able to upload consistently um, to YouTube, because I've managed to upload, I don't know, like maybe once every 2, 3 days with the connection that I've had. So it's been taking me like 12 hours to upload like a 10, 15 minute video. That bad. So I've been like editing, and then I'd finish a video early in the morning and then upload it at like 5 a.m. And then when I wake up at like 1 p.m. the next day, it's at like 90%, which gives me time to do a thumbnail, and then and then I can eventually make it live at like 4 p.m. But that's just been something that's been like a month that I've been having to do that while these internet issues have had to get sorted, because the whole COVID situation has made it impossible to get like engineers out to take a look at that. But when it came to Twitch, when I first went full time, I was doing 5 days a week, Monday to Friday for about 5 hours. But I never really had a schedule in place. It's definitely something I'm working on, but as long as I'm able to upload at this sort of consistency with the YouTube stuff, and when the Twitch streams come back, I mean, that's going to work in tandem, I think, because I record all that gameplay and I'm able to work with it. So, yeah.
And what's your pacing right now with YouTube? Since going full time, did you, or I guess maybe you even did it earlier, I'm not sure, but like, when did you put it more into a rhythm of consistency with it? And like, do you try and aim for a few videos a week, or like, what's that like for you now?
Yeah, it was probably the first few months before I went full time. I also had a girlfriend around the time that I was going. So I was like I had a full-time job. I was still doing a bit of the graphic design stuff. I was doing YouTube and having a girlfriend that I had to try and see in all that time. So trying to schedule myself that it was a really difficult time. We ended up breaking up just because of, I mean, obviously, like, she fit into my life. I explained that in my 2020 video as well. Like, it's a really difficult. It was just a difficult time to try and schedule everything that was going on. So you've got to, like, I just had to let her go, and then that gave me like the full focus on the YouTube stuff. I kind of had to focus on that just to distract myself, because like it was a relationship that I still wanted to be in, but I had to understand that I just had to like move on, and she was doing it for my sake, really. She saw where it was going and saw that I was having success with it, but realized that like it couldn't really continue with, everything that was going on in my life. But that was like another realization point for me, where I was like, all right, well, I can't continue working this full-time job anymore. Like, YouTube had got to a point for me where it was a part-time job, but I didn't have the time to make it a part-time job. I was maybe uploading 1 or 2 videos a week, but they were like high quality stuff. I'd probably say once a week, to be honest.
Yeah.
Once a week prior to going full-time. I was posting all sorts. It was like Apex, Hunt Showdown, PUBG, whatever I was playing at the time. I was never able to latch onto a game until Warzone came around and really like focus on content creation. And that's really enabled me to do that because of the enjoyment aspect. Like, part of it, when I edit these videos and they're so like in depth with the edits, it can be pretty unmotivating after some time. But with the Warzone stuff, I really enjoy watching that gameplay back, because there's just so much. Like, there's no down point. Like, we're always doing something. So there's not like, I'm not searching for the footage, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It really flows well as an editor, I find.
And how did you, so I don't even exactly remember, but how did you make the transition to going full time? And then, even for anybody who's listening that doesn't know, Tom only recently even did a face reveal and, showed, I guess, himself even on his channel at all. Like, how did that go for you? Because I feel like it's a little bit more unique of a path.
Like, when I went full time, that was, I guess I really, like, I'd been streaming prior to that for a couple of months, and I'd really built up like a personal, I don't know, like my viewers sort of knew me more. but they were limited by the fact there was no connection. Like I wasn't able to address them during intermission in games and at the start of streams. I had my intermission screen up, but it was just a Twitch chat and a Tomographic logo and like who's donated and subs and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, I was watching my own VODs and I was like, there's something just that seems so robotic about this. And I wanted to make things a bit more personal with like the brand now that I was going full time. It was something I expected to do way sooner. I mean, 4 years is when I did it. But I also had, along with the people telling me to do a face reveal, I was also getting people saying that they don't want to know what I look like because I'd been making, like, it's the same with Aculite, I think. People just don't want to see the face reveal now because it's been so long and they don't want to ruin that, like, ruin their idea of what he looks like. I mean, you still haven't seen him yet.
No, I haven't. It's weird, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of looks like me. He's just got like blonde hair.
Sure.
No beard.
So then that was kind of just like part of your announcement of going full time then, right? It's like,
yeah,
hey, I'm just gonna, you know,
so
we're going to do this.
I've been full time. So it was like late September. And then the first day of 2020 is when I posted that face reveal video. So it was still early days, but I mean, I needed a couple of months to try and figure everything out and how I was going to start integrating my face into the content. And I'm not doing it with the YouTube stuff. I might do at some point. I don't know if, like, right now it seems people seem to enjoy the content for what it is.
Sure.
But with the Twitch stuff, I don't play with the face cam, but I have the face cam up during intermission, and it works really well, actually. People seem to like that. Because that's the time where they get that one-on-one with me. And when I start the streams, I usually talk for like half an hour and there's like a lot of banter going back and forth and we talk about all sorts. But yeah, it's been I think it's made it a lot more personal.
That's awesome. Do you think there's anything that has been like a strong thing that helped you as you've been going through, that helped you out, or maybe a mistake that you learned early on, or anything that stands out to you?
I don't know about mistakes, because like, I guess I was just trying to figure out like the direction of my content.
Sure.
For like the first 3 years, I had pretty much the same outlook. I was like, this isn't going to be a full-time thing for me, but I'm really enjoying it as a hobby and I'm enjoying the community feedback. But yeah, once I'd started realizing that I was able to make it a part-time thing, that's when I was like, hang on, maybe this could be a full-time endeavor and maybe I could make this work and turn it into a job. So I was that guy who was like, this isn't going to happen. Like, I'd love to do this, but this is not going to happen. Like, I just enjoy it as a hobby. And if you have that in you, if you just like, you're doing it for the enjoyment and because you're passionate about it. Like, I see so many people now, they start making content, or they fully invest their time, their spare time into growing or trying to grow a Twitch stream, which is really difficult. It's so oversaturated on Twitch. But just trying to grow as a content creator, it's really difficult right now. But you need to have that like motivation and that desire to make it work for yourself. Because it's just not going to go anywhere otherwise. Like, I always had that despite not thinking it was going to happen. And now I'm in the position where I'm doing it full time and I have to look back and think, damn, that like a younger me would be so excited about his future if he realized where I am now.
That's awesome, man. And any final thoughts or anything you wanna share with that?
Well, yeah, I'd probably just say networking is super important. You need to like if you're gonna do this, don't just like do it alone. Bring your friends along, or reach out to creators who are the same size as your channel, or like are trying to get to the same place as you, because it's really uplifting when you've got someone to bounce off and talk about thumbnails and analytics and the direction of your content. It's really important. Like, I had that with Aculite when he first started, so it was great to have someone to bounce off with that sort of stuff. but yeah, just do you. You've got to try and be original however you can. I found that with like the cinematic stuff and the professionalism of the earlier videos, and now I'm at a point where I'm doing both. Like I'm able to keep up the consistency, but there's a nice balance with the professional edits and the clean cuts and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you just got to keep at it.
Awesome, man. Dude, I absolutely love this. Thank you for joining in. And as a reminder too, if people want to find you, check your stuff out, where do they go?
Yeah, Tomographic on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and then It's Tomographic on Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining, man.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, it's been great.